First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua Ba'Shem Rokakudash. Yahweh to this world ignorantly calls God. Yahweh Shai to this world ignorantly calls Jesus. Bahashem means in the name, Rakah means spirit, and Kodash means holy. And that's all in the Paleo Hebrew. Also give double honors to the elder bishops and apostles of Great Millstone that taught me this truth. In today's video, I wanted to go into how this is a long game. Okay, we're playing for the long game. So, when I say that, I'm talking about the kingdom of heaven, how, the scriptures talk about how those that endure into the end, the same shall be saved. Right? It doesn't talk about those that endure for an hour, for a year, for a week. No, those that endure unto the end. So in order to make it to the end, you have to have the mentality of, I will push no matter what happens. You have to make long-term decisions, not short-term. And I always hear stories about brothers talking about how that short-term decision mindset will get you messed up, will get you in jam. And brothers go into examples of, eating shitty because they thought they were going to be out of here soon. Hey, F it. Let's go eat McDonald's, let's go eat whatever we want, because hey, look, we out of here. We out of here, hey, next year. We out of here, hey, soon. And those brothers talk about how, here it is, 5, 10, 15 years pass, and Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua hasn't came back yet. And those decisions that they made back then, thinking so short term, ultimately had long term effects. Another brother talking about, just letting payments go, student loan payments, just, go, not paying them because, hey, we out of here. Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua is near. And guess what? That brother talked about how, it wasn't a wise thing to do. And, it's important to learn from these examples and from other people's mistakes, because that is wisdom. Okay, that is a form of wisdom, is to learn from other people's mistakes so you don't do the same thing. You avoid that lesson. But let's go into James chapter 5 and verse 10. It says, "Take my brethren the prophets who have spoken in the name of Yahweh for an example of suffering, affliction, and of patience." Right? We're supposed to look at all the old men, great people that the Heavenly Father has chosen. And you find that in every single scenario, they're always in a position of patience, of having to wait. Okay? They're always in a position of faith, of all odds are against them, but you see that they believe wholeheartedly that the Lord is going to pull them out. So, hey, that's the same way we're supposed to be today, waiting patiently and knowing that everything is going to be okay. That at the end of the day, as it says in 2 Ezra chapter 6 and verse 9, Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. Right? Soon Esau's world will end, and Jacob, the Israelites, will rule everything. That's the end game. That's the long-term game mindset. That's what we're striving for. But it says, "Behold, we count them happy which endure. Ye have heard of the patience of Job, and have seen the end of the Lord, that the Lord is very pitiful and of tender mercy." Right? And the story of Job is a very powerful story, because it shows you that no matter what you go through, you gotta stand, you gotta keep your integrity. Right? The scriptures talk about how, Job never sinned with his lips. Let's get that. Job chapter 1 and verse 22, it says, "In all this Job sinned not, nor charged God foolishly." Right? So, in all the things that was happening to him, right, in all these things, Job sinned not by his lips, nor spoke he any foolish thing against God. And all the things that was happening to him, Job never cursed the Most High. He never, went off with what he was saying. He kept everything on point. He kept his integrity, as it says. These verses highlight Job's commitment to truth and righteousness, vowing not to speak lies or evil when facing immense suffering. Okay, and that's a powerful testimony. So powerful that, it's in the scriptures. It's part of the Bible. That's how powerful, what Job did. That's how powerful what he did I can't even put those words together. It's a tongue twister, but it's powerful, and it goes back to integrity. So it says, "Behold, we count them happy which endure. Ye have heard of the patience of Job, and have seen the end of the Lord, that the Lord is very pitiful and of tender mercy." Right? We have seen the end of the Lord. How at the end, okay, the Most High increased Job. Let's get that. Right, Job chapter 8 and verse 7, "Though thy beginning was small, yet thy latter end should greatly increase." And you go into, how much he was increased. Let's get it. How much did Job increase? It says, Job's wealth increased, doubled after his restoration. Right, so the Lord gave Job twice as much as he had before. And that came, with everything, even children, family, and everything. He got double. So, that's how Yahweh Bashem Yahushua operates. He'll put you through a situation, you lose it all, but at the end of the day, you get more than what you lost if you endure. Right? If you give up, then you lost. Right? That's the one thing about this is there is no giving up. As long as you don't give up and you always keep pushing and getting back up, as it says, the righteous fall 7 times but get it back up again, but the wicked falleth into mischief. So if you part of the righteous, you gonna fall, but what matters is you get back up. As long as you do that, your latter end is gonna be an increase. So let's go into 2 Corinthians chapter 4 verse 17. It says, "For our light affliction, which is but for a moment, worketh for us a far more exceeding and eternal weight of glory. While we look not at the things which are seen, but at the things which are not seen. For the things which are seen are temporal, but the things which are not seen are eternal." Right? And that's the mindset is we're striving for an eternal kingdom. Okay, we're striving for immortality. And what we're going through right now, whatever any of us is going through, is a light affliction. Compared, right, a light affliction for a moment. Compared, to exceeding eternal weight of glory. What is 100 years compared to immortality? Right, what we going through is nothing compared to what we about to receive. So we can't look at the things which are seen. We gotta think about the things which are not seen. For the things which are seen are temporal, but the things which are not seen are eternal. Right? We gotta have a mindset that's not of this world. And that's what it takes. When you have that mindset, the world is gonna look at you crazy. The world is gonna mock you. Think, you're a lunatic. You're out of your mind. You're delusional. But guess what? That's how it's supposed to be. Because this is not for the world. Okay, this is something that comes first and foremost with faith. But Romans chapter 8 and verse 18, it says, "For I reckon that the sufferings of this present time are not worthy to be compared with the glory which shall be revealed in us." Right, so it's the same point how the suffering we're going through right now is going to be nothing compared to what we receive. Right? What is this vile, body that, we die in roughly 80, 90, 100 years? What is this compared to a body that never dies, that never goes off, has the law, statutes, and commandments inside of it, right? Has powers, all types of spiritual powers. What is this 100 years to immortality? Okay, you can't compare it. And that I love that comparison because it puts it in perspective. How 100 years is nothing to immortality. 100 years is nothing to 1,000,000 years. And we're going to be immortal, which is more than that. So, Galatians chapter 6 and verse 9, "And let us not be weary in well doing, for in due season we shall reap, if we faint not." And that's the point. Is don't get weary in well doing. Right? Don't get weak. Okay, don't get down because you've been going so hard. And you don't see the kingdom yet. Don't get weak. Keep pushing, keep pushing, keep pushing. "For in due season we shall reap, if we faint not." Going back to that point I said that, as long as you don't give up, as long as you don't faint, you're going to reap. And you're going to get more than what you lost. So hopefully this is edifying, straight to the point, without give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai Ba'ashem Ukakwadash, and double honors to the elder bishops and apostles of Great Millstone that taught me this truth. Shalom to you, like Shalom.